Okay, so the last thing I want to share with you is this concept and praise of shooting with smaller sensors. So obviously in photography, we love the cameras, we love the gear, we love the equipment, blah, 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 blah. And people always like, oh, you know, what is the best camera, the best lens, the best equipment for street photography? So obviously cameras are always being outdated and being upgraded. There's crop sensors, micro four thirds, full frame, and now digital medium format. And obviously there's shooting with phone cameras like iPhone or Android, etc. I've actually found that there's a huge benefit of shooting with smaller sensor sizes. So either APS-C crop sensor, DSLR 1.6 crop sensors, or even the micro four thirds 2x crop sensors, because there's so many benefits to shooting with a smaller sensor. So first and foremost, and this also of course applies to shooting with a phone, is that while your sharpness and image resolution or quote unquote image quality may not be as good as a full frame camera, it's pretty damn good already. And maybe 5 years ago, crop sensors or micro four thirds sensors, the image quality wasn't as good as full frame, but now it's pretty much on par. The bigger reason why more people want to shoot with full frame is that there's actually more limited depth of field, which means there's more bokeh, but I think bokeh is overrated in photography and street photography. I actually find that the best photos and best street photos are the ones that have more depth, the ones that everything is sharp. And also the nice thing about shooting with smaller sensors is that generally the autofocus is way faster and way more accurate. Like for example, if you're shooting with the digital medium format camera, the autofocus is pretty slow and inaccurate, and everything's always often out of focus because there's not as much depth of field. So realize that in photography, having a smaller sensor size also allows you to get closer to shoot more close-up photos like macro photos. So that's why you notice if you're photographing your food with your phone camera, you can get really, really close to it, whereas if you're shooting with a bigger DSLR, unless you have a dedicated macro lens, it's a lot more difficult. So one of the reasons why I like shooting with either the Ricoh GR version 2, there's the macro function, or even I've been shooting with the Lumix LX100, it's a micro four thirds sensor. I'm able to get so close to my subjects, and the autofocus is stupid fast, very accurate, and the cameras are smaller, they're lighter, which means that you can carry them with you everywhere you go. You can bring them with you everywhere you go, and therefore you end up shooting more. And the more you shoot, the more likely you are to get a good photo. And the more you shoot, the happier you're going to be. The lighter your camera is, the longer you could walk with less fatigue, less pain on the neck, and overall you'll be happier as a street photographer, or just photographer or human being. So I'd recommend you don't just think that you need a DSLR, a full frame camera, whatever. When in doubt, opt for a smaller sensor size, and you'll see that small is beautiful. Peace out.